Welcome to channel Monetonic. We have with us Mr. Nilesh Shah, Managing Director and CEO of Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company, market experts and his views on budget 2017. Sir, my first question is, will the budget boost growth by the spending by the government?
Yes, I think this budget is a pragmatic budget. It will support growth in various ways. So the one support is that it has cut tax rate from 10% to 5% at the base slab. More money in the hands of consumers, they will go and spend, consumption will get boosted. The second thing is by fiscal deficit containment. When government does not borrow much, that leaves enough scope for private sector to borrow. Those guys can then, borrow money to spend and create assets and create growth. The third thing is related to productivity enhancement. When you spend money wisely and efficiently, the productivity is much more. So earlier we used to spend 35-40,000 crore for Manrega. It was essentially digging holes and filling it. It was not creating any economic output. Now we are spending this 35-40,000 crore to build or clean ponds, build composite posts. This have beneficial impact on rural economy. The growth can be supported. So there are various ways in which government spending as well as the efficiency of spending and containment of expenditure can support growth. And I think in this budget, consumption is supported, investment is supported, productivity is enhanced, which will eventually support better growth, sustained growth. And most importantly, fiscal deficit is contained, which will support growth.
What is the sectoral impact of the budget?
The budget has many sectoral impact. So the first impact will be on private sector banks and public sector banks. The budget's focus is to contain deficit, which will allow them to lower deficit, which will allow them to contain government's borrowing program. Interest rates will remain soft. Net public and private sector banks will benefit from treasury profit. The second thing will be overall growth orientation of the budget. It creates opportunity for them to lend and make more money. So private sector banks and public sector banks could be beneficiary of the budget. The second thing is government's targeted spending towards roads, railway, defense, capital expenditure and other things. Obviously, the area in which they are focused, the companies which are operating in that area will benefit. The third thing is the consumption boom given by the government. Now, wherever the surplus money will be spent by taxpayers, that will give boost to consumption in those sectors. The one bigger theme which is emerging from all this is the theme of unorganized sector losing market share to organized sector. With demonetization, with GST, businesses in unorganized sector are losing their competitive edge. They no longer can avoid paying tax. They no longer can, pay lower salary than mandated officially to laborers. They no longer can take environmental issues for granted. All these things is making them less competitive, and that business is shifting into organized player. So companies which are operating in organized sector across paints, tiles, chemicals, ready-made garments, textiles, auto components, in all these sectors, these companies are benefiting. And my feeling is that the budget and GST thereafter will make this theme even more firmer, more stronger.
What is your advice to common investor?
The common investors have to realize one thing, that when you invest in fixed deposits today, on a 1 year basis, you'll probably get between 6 to 7% return. On a post-tax basis, that's roughly about 4.2 to 5% return. Now, clearly, you saw today many stocks jumping up by more than 4%. So effectively, what you earn after holding bank fixed deposits for 1 year on a post-tax basis, you can earn more than that if you pick up right stock on a right day. Now, obviously, picking up right stock on a right day is not easy. It's a challenging job. But that's the potential of equity return vis-a-vis fixed income return. The common investors will have to develop the discipline. At 7,900, if you watched television media, most people were saying, oh, index is going down, you should book profit or cut your loss and just move out of the market. The same people at 8,700 today are saying that it's a great time to buy. But if you sell at 7,900 Nifty and buy at 8,700 Nifty, you don't make money, you lose money. So what you need is a helping hand of a financial advisor or a distributor who can tell you these are the right products to buy, and most importantly, this is the right way to buy. You have to do systematic investment plan or systematic transfer plan to get into equity market. Just because markets are up 500 points in Sensex today, it doesn't mean that you invest into market today. You have to develop a plan with the helping hand of financial advisor. You know, most people know little bit of home remedies. If you get cold, you first treat it at home. But moment it persists, you go to doctor for advice. You take help of a professional. In money management, you have to take help of a professional. Don't try to do it on your own. It's not easy. It looks simple, but it's very difficult to practice. So take helping hand of a financial advisor, create a plan, and maintain the discipline.
What are the plus and minus points of the budget?
In this budget, for the first time, the finance minister has put the mirror in front of the nation. 4 lakh people pay income tax above 5 lakh rupee and 40 lakh people buy automobile above 5 lakh rupee. We are a nation of dishonest taxpayers. Our tax to GDP ratio is like African nation rather than Asian nation. First time in my life I have seen finance minister telling on the floor of parliament people of India what they are. I think if 1 crore people can give up their LPG subsidy, I'm sure they will be ashamed by the mirror which has been portrayed to you, where we are seen as a dishonest taxpayers. What's the point in celebrating when India wins a cricket match if you are not paying your tax correctly? What's the point of standing for national anthem when you are not paying your tax correctly? You are not a patriotic Indian by clapping for your cricket team when they win or standing up for national anthem. You become patriotic when you start paying proper taxes, and I don't think so there are many Indians who can claim that we are paying proper taxes. So this is one big statement. We will widen tax net through tax compliance. The second thing is the whole focus on fiscal prudence. You know, when government overspends, they create inflation. That inflation hurts poor people far more. So if you follow the path of fiscal prudence, it's something which can cover many of your ills. If you go to Mahabharata, there is this treatise which says that Yudhishthir had, one gun which was being righteous, but 99 avguns. I mean, he was a drunkard, he was a gambler, he was naive enough to put his wife on gambling, he was naive enough to believe that he could win against Shakuni, and he didn't insist that Duryodhan should play as a prince rather than his mama Sakuni playing. So making so many mistakes, yet people remember Yudhishthir as a nice man, as a right guy. On the other hand, Duryodhan, I mean, he had only one avgun of jealousness. Otherwise, he was a very fair king. I mean, everyone knew that Pandavas were on the right side and Kauravas were on the wrong side. Yet, there were more people supporting Duryodhana than Arjun. Krishna, his own army fought with Duryodhana, not with Arjun. So it shows he must be a good person. But we all remember Duryodhana as a bad man. Why? Because one avgun of jealousness covered all his good things. In Yudhishthir's case, he had many bad things, but his righteous path of speaking truth covered all his bad things. Fiscal prudence is like that. When you put fiscal prudence in front, a lot of your limitation gets covered. So finance minister has presented a Mahabharat style budget where fiscal prudence will cover a lot of ills of India, and that's very reassuring. The third thing in this budget is this whole focus on growth, growth and growth. You are leaving money in the hands of consumers so that they can spend to create growth. You yourself are spending money on road and railway to create growth. You are looking to divest strategic assets to raise revenue to fund growth. You are improving compliance standards to fund growth. So this whole focus on growth through spending, through leaving money in the hands of consumers and through fiscal prudence is also pretty good. The focus on productivity is also fantastic. So overall, this budget has many pluses. What are the negatives? The one big negative is that the budget has provided only 10,000 crore for PSU bank recapitalization. That's grossly inadequate number. That number will have to be enhanced at some point of time. The second thing which probably is not as good in the budget is related to some amount of allocation towards let's say environmental issues or social health care. I mean, here we need innovation in terms of spending. I mean, clearly we need healthy India for a brighter India. The amount of money which we are spending on healthcare is inadequate, and a higher allocation would have been better, because healthy India will result into better India. We can't have a high growth India without healthy India. So there are minor minuses, lots of pluses. Overall, the budget will be beneficial to economy as well as the market over a period of time.
So last question. In this budget, announcement on PSU ETFs, listing of entities like IRCTC, what is your views?
Assets in the hands of government probably is not getting utilized as much as in the hands of private sector player. Air India is classical example. I mean, the government has put in probably 35,000 crore into Air India over last many years. How much return it has given to the government? The same Air India in the hands of a private player might would have become a far better company, like it was when JRD Tata and Tata Group were running it. So when you bring public company into listed domain, their accountability increases, and hopefully their efficiency increases, their productivity increases. Ideally, we should go towards privatization, but if it's an intermittent step where we go from a public company to listed company to private company, I think that phase will create better utilization of government's assets and better return on investments to economy.